Hello, students. Long time no see. I'm going to walk you through assignment 13, which is called the Introduction to Cell Respiration and Photosynthesis. So, as you've learned before, we all need energy to grow and breathe and survive and eat and do all the things we need to do to survive. That is true for both plants and everything else that's not a plant on planet Earth. So to do that, we're going to talk about this little diagram here first. But the first thing that I need you to do is make sure you fill out the chart below this picture right here. So for this first chart, you're going to number one, it says complete this table using the picture above. What do I observe about the chart? So what are some things that you observe or notice about this chart? Is it in a circle? What are the parts to it? What are these chemical words? What's this up here? You're going to make four things or four notes about what you observe in this chart above right here. After you do that, you're going to do what questions do you have about the chart. So for example, a question might be, for me, I might say is, why is there heat at the bottom of the chart? And that's because of what did I observe? I observed here, I noticed the red lines and heat. So I observed the red lines and heat, and then I asked a question, why is there heat at the bottom of the chart? So do that first, pause it right now, and then come back and we'll finish this. Pause it if you need to, and then we'll work on this part right here, these boxes below. There's only 8 questions here for you to complete. So question number 1 says, based on the diagram above, what are 3 things needed for photosynthesis? Now this word photosynthesis, right here, photosynthesis, this is how plants take energy from the sun, carbon dioxide, which is gas from humans, and water, and make food. So the question is asking us what 3 things are needed for photosynthesis. So let's go back to the chart. Oops. Up here, let's find the word photosynthesis, and let's see what 3 things are needed for this to happen, to make energy for plants. So if I follow the arrows here, what arrow is pointing in? I see an arrow pointing in here. I see water, H2O, and carbon dioxide, which is the gas we breathe out. These are going into photosynthesis. These are 2 things that photosynthesis needs. Now, what's the third thing? If I look up here, I see light coming in. So the 3 things that we need are water, carbon dioxide, and light to complete photosynthesis. Let's go back to our words below. I see water, CO2, which is carbon dioxide, and sunlight. Sorry, water, CO2, and sunlight. I knew that because those are the arrows pointing into it. Okay. Now, let's do question 2. Based on the diagram above, what are 2 things that are made after photosynthesis? Follow the arrows that point to what is coming out. All right. Let's go back to our diagram. We already did the arrows pointing in, right? We did this right here already. And we did this. Now we got to find the arrows pointing out. So I find photosynthesis. I find the arrows pointing out. And you see there's 2 things made as a result of photosynthesis. Let's see. Arrows coming out. So what's coming out? Let's go back to the diagram. We see that there's sugar and oxygen. Now humans, we breathe oxygen, and then plants our sugar for energy, and we also eat plants too, and we eat animals that eat plants. So we get oxygen from plants and sugar from plants in the form of energy. So we also get sugar and oxygen is made as a result. Question 3, based on the diagram above, where does photosynthesis take place in? So what's the name of that shape, that green bean that photosynthesis takes place in? So I'm going to erase these here, just so this doesn't get confusing. So where does photosynthesis take place? So photosynthesis, it takes place in this part right here. It's called the chloroplast. That's the name of the part inside of a plant that actually helps it make sugar and oxygen for us to breathe. It's called the chloroplast. All right, it's very important for us to know this word and what it means. Go back to the question. It takes place in the chloroplast. All right, so that's the first part of the diagram. We just did the first half of how plants get energy. Now we're going to talk about how humans and other living things get energy as well too. That's called cellular respiration, and it's in the mitochondria. This is a very small, tiny part inside of all your body cells where we take sugar and fats and proteins and burn it up like we did in the lab and turn it into what's called ATP for our cells to use for us to live and survive and all those kinds of things, right? Because your cells can't just eat like a piece of chicken and use it right away. It's got to break it down to ATP. So we're on question 4. Based on the diagram above, what are the reactants of cellular respiration? I don't know what that word means, but I gave you a hint here. Follow the arrows that point to what is going into cellular respiration. So there's 2 answers we need, and what's going into cellular respiration. 2 answers and what's going into cellular respiration. So I see cellular respirations right here. There it is right there. And I got to find the arrows that are pointing in respiration. So what comes out of a plant is kind of what goes into for cellular respiration. So there's 2 things that go into this right here. It's C6H12O6, which is another word for sugar, and oxygen. So if I go down here, 2 things are needed for cellular respiration, which is how we all get our energy. 2 things, we just answered it. Type that answer on your own. Okay? Type it on your own. The 2 things that are needed, what's going into cellular respiration, right here. Now, let's go to question 5. Based on the diagram above, what are the 3 things made after cellular respiration? Follow the arrows that point to what is coming out. So, cellular respiration, follow the arrows that are coming out. What 3 answers are we looking for cellular respiration? I'm going to erase this here to not get confused. All right. So, once again, I find cellular respiration right here, right? Excuse me. There it is, cellular respiration. What 3 things are coming out? So you notice what's coming out. If I follow these arrows again, coming out is water, carbon dioxide, and ATP. So this comes out of us after we turn sugar and energy. It comes out of us again, and that water that we sweat or that we urinate, and that air we breathe out goes back to the plant. So what comes out of this? Water, carbon dioxide, and ATP, which powers your cellular work. Right? All right, this thing right here called ATP, which actually powers your cell to do work. So what 3 things come out? Oops, pardon me. That answer is going to go right here for question 5. Question 6. Based on the diagram above, where does cellular respiration, take place? Where does this stuff actually occur? Question 6, where does it take place? So cellular respiration takes place in this part called the mitochondria. It's a teeny, 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 tiny part inside of each of your cells that's used to help turn sugar into usable energy. So it takes place in it's called the mitochondria. Question 7 is kind of a guess. Based on the diagram above, what do living things use energy for inside of your bodies? So for this question, basically tell me, what do we use energy for? What do our bodies need energy for? What kind of things do you do that require you to have enough energy each day? Question 8, based on the diagram above, after extracellular work is completed, is released from the cell as what form of energy? Look at the red arrows. What is the extra energy released as? So if on these red arrows, the extra energy is released as heat energy. If you have any questions, email me or let me know. I'll be happy to help you out here, but you should be able to complete this on Wednesday.